Thank you for coming to my presentation today. Uh, my name is Wildan F.A. You can call me Wildan. I am ex-semester student from C class of Pancasakti University in Tegal. On this occasion, I was given the opportunity to bring the result of the paper. I made it to fulfill the assignment of lesson ELT. To start the percentage, let's go to the first slide on this part. You can see on my left hand my title. Title of my paper is Procedures for the application of number head together or in Haiti techniques in reading learning for first grade students of senior high school. In this percentage, we will discuss some of the things as described in the second slide. In this second slide, there is background and statement that contains the reason and objective why I choose this topic. Then we headed to this second discussion is about NHT learning model. Then there is high school English learning in 10 class, because I just choice one class. This is in 10 class in high school university. And the last one of discussion is about reading. This is related to the link with the NHT itself. Then proceed to the third discussion, there which contain the steps of using or do it the NHT model in class. Then the fourth point and discussion of shortcomings. I mean not shortcomings. This is advantage and disadvantage of teaching technique NHT. Then in the last slide or in the last discussion, we are discuss about conclusion and suggestion from the author of what he found during the writing techniques and NHT learning. Okay, now we move on the first slide that discuss why I took the title to the research. The reason is simply the title is very simple to write and a lot of it is a lot reference about the title. I raise the reason that I will explain one of the techniques that educators can use in the learning process to teach English, especially in teaching reading skills. The technique that the author will describe in this paper is number head technique. or NHT technique. This technique is one of these what no no this technique is one of the technique to help learners understand a text or reading. Give the importance of reading activities. This technique is expected to help learners gain a new atmosphere in learning and overcome the ABD that have been arising. In this paper, the NHT technique is applied in senior high school class because the English material for reading skill in class and senior high class is directed at the achievement of students in the ability to understand meaning in written discourse. And we go to the next slide. In this slide, I explain it that in my paper there are two statements, such as the first statement is why is the use of NHT technique appropriate of suitable in reading learning for high school grade students. And the second statement, how is the procedure of applying NHT techniques in reading learning for SMA X class. Because there are two statements, we just go straight to the third slide, such as the number of the slide here. There are also three discussions that are NHT: English learning class and reading. And for your information, in this paper I used the search of several books so that it becomes a unity, because trying to the first point, namely NHT or numbered heads together. NHT is an approach developed to engage more students in the study of the material and covered in a lesson and check their understanding of the content of the lesson instead of asking questions in the test in the rest of the class. This technique can be used in all subjects and for all age levels of students. Although it has many similarities to other approach, it is give of this approach of emphasis on the use of certain structures designed to influence student interaction patterns. The next, there are some objectives of NHT. According to Ibrahim, from his book, present three objectives that are to be achieved in cooperative learning with the type number head together, namely such as number 1, results of academic learning of any. There is aims to improve students' performance in academic assignment, and the two objective is recognition of diversity. There is aims to allow students to accept friends who have different background, and the last on the third objective of number heads together is social skills development. There is aim develop students social skills. The intended skills include sharing tasks, actively asking, respecting the options of others, want to explain ideas or options, work in groups, and so on. And there are some characteristics of number head together. According to Ibrahim from his book, there are three characteristics of a from number head together. The one is heterogeneous group. The two is each member of the group has a different head number, and the last is think together or head together. I think enough discussion about number head together in point 1. And the second point, we switch to English learning in high school. In this one of this mandatory subject for high school students in Indonesia, the function and purposes of English teaching and learning has been outlined in the curriculum. In the special guidelines on competence-based assessment system. This is about Ministry of National Education of Indonesia, 2006. The English language has functioned as a means of communication. Based on the Ministry of National Education of Indonesia, the subject matter of the English learning syllabus, students of the 8th grade can be concluded that there are some subject matter directed at the achievement of students in the ability to understand the meaning in the discourse written in the form of recount, narrative, and descriptive. This among the 4 English language skills. There are listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Reading skills tend to be a priority. In this case, the application of number head together technique is very appropriate to help students understand types of text learned. And now we go to the last of discussion. Not the last slide, but the last discussion of this slide. That is reading. Reading is the process of understanding and reconstructing the meaning contained in the reading material. The message or meaning contained in the reading text is a reciprocal interaction, active interaction, and dynamic. interaction between the basic knowledge that readers have with sentence, facts, and information contained in the text of the reading. So reading is the way to get some information from paper, magazine, and etc. And this, what is it? Paper can be information and facts or etc. And I think enough for the discussion of on the slides. So let's go on the next slide. In this slide, explain steps using number head together model for listen in class, especially in class high school. Let's begin. According to Ibrahim from his book, there are 4 steps for using number head together. And the step 1 is numbering. Numbering is the main thing in NHT. In this stage, the teacher divides the students into separate groups or teams that contain of 4 and until 5 people, and gives students a number so that each student in their turn has a different number according to the student in the group. The second or 2 number is filling question. The next step is to ask the questions. The teacher asks the student questions. Questions taken from certain subject matter are being studied in order to make the inquiry to be varied to the public and with varying degrees of difficulty. The third number is think together. After getting question from the teacher, students think together to find answer and explain the answer to the members in his team, and so that all members know the answer from each question. And the last is giving answer. The final step of the teacher mention 1 number and each student from each of the same number group raises the head and prepare the answer for the entire class. Then the teacher randomly selects the group, that must answer the question. Then the student whose number is called. The teacher of the group raises the hand and stands in answer the question. Another group or similar number group respond the answer. Okay. To produce a good number head together model is number head together, the teacher must follow the steps that have been listed above for the model to feel easy to understand and followed by the students. Now we replace the slide again, and in this slide we discuss about advantage and disadvantage from number head together method. And there are we go to this advantage used in number head together. In Ibrahim, his book, there are some advantage, among others are: 1. Sense of self-esteem becomes higher. The second, improved presence. The third, acceptance of the individual becomes greater. The fourth, disturbing behavior becomes smaller. And 5, reduce personal conflict. And 6, deeper understanding. 7, improve goodness, sensitivity, and tolerance. And the last is higher learning outcomes. And the disadvantage used in number head together. There are 2 disadvantages in number head together. The first is number head together. Possible dialect numbers can be called again by the teachers. And the second, not all group members who have the same number are called by the teacher for the presentation representing the group. And there are some advantage and disadvantage from number head together. And now we go to the last discussion. That is about conclusion and suggestion from me as a author, as author from this paper. And the first is conclusion. Conclusion from this paper is the technique number head together is one technique that can be applied in learning reading. Number head together technique has 3 objectives to be achieved in cooperative learning with the type number heads together. Namely, aims to improve students' performance in academic assignments so that students can accept their friends who various backgrounds and to develop student social skills. The intended skills include sharing tasks, actively asking, respecting the opinions of others, 1. To explain ideas or opinions, work in groups, and so on. So, these number head together techniques, students are grouped by teacher and group form a heterogeneous group for then numbering to each group member. And the last is suggestion from me as author from this paper. Isn't the application of number head together technique in learning reading need to be adjusted to the students' ability first, so that the materials and techniques to be taught are more easily understood and expected by students. Application of number head together techniques in learning English reading for students senior high school. Teachers should use learning media so that the process of learning to teach with this technique become more interesting and enjoyable for high school high school students tend to understand material more easily if working in some of groups. And this is the last slide of this discussion. Now we go to the next slide, and this slide just written about thank you. Okay, now this the last percentage from this paper. I go to give not give, I must to say thank you to Mr. Toto as lectures ELT, who always give direction in the preparation of this paper. Hopefully the pandemic of the coronavirus quickly disappear and passes, so we can do the lecture directly without having to edit first the video, and hopefully my thesis quickly finish. Okay, thank you for watching.